privileged to have DarrelNash as our speaker here again today. He was here last October with the rest of the Buffalo Soldier contingent. He is a retired Army Master Sergeant. He's a retired Washington State Trooper. He served as a vet in the Desert Storm, Desert Shield operation, and also is a veteran of Afghanistan. He's an author and a military instructor. But today we honor him here today as historian, Deuce Corps historian, and also of the 24th Infantry. So, we'd like to give a warm Columbus welcome to DarrelNash.
All right. Thank you. All right. Can you hear me? Okay. Bear with the side effects here, so still moving on. Well, I'd like to say a few things again. Thanks for coming out. Can you hear me? Uh-oh. I got a big mouth to get up here. Can you hear the brother now? All right, much better. Okay. It's okay. Got me? Can you hold it? Oh, that's okay. We're going to move on down the road. Okay, time to get into the weeds. Just to say I'm glad to be here. Came from the great state of Washington. And we're not having this beautiful sunshine weather you have. When I left, it was kind of cold. So I'm going to take some of this nice sunshine weather back with me. So please forgive me if I steal it. Like she said, I retired from the military 26 years. And I did something nutty. I went and got a second job. Yeah, I retired from law enforcement, did 20 years in that. Now, you heard the old saying, 2 heads are better than one? Guess what? 2 retirement checks are definitely better than one. Yeah. So, with that being said, time to get into the weeds. Talk about the Buffalo Soldiers and why they are important to the land of enchantment of New Mexico. First things first, how did they get that name? Well, they just didn't get it on their own. Somebody had to give it to them. And how this came about, a group by the name of the 10th Cavalry rolled upon the Cheyennes. Or you could say the Cheyennes rolled upon the 10th Cav. Or when they met each other, they got into a little scuffle. Now, when they got into the scuffle, I mean they got into a firefight. And the Cheyennes, since a lot of you are military personnel like me, anybody would tell you in a war college, if there are 901 guys and only 70 of you, you're not going to win that firefight. Well, in this case, there were 70 10th Cavalry, and they were raw recruits, no combat experience. And they rolled up on, the Cheyennes rolled up on them. There were 900 of them. So they got into a little firefight. Well, the Cheyennes had a problem. They couldn't push them off this ground. They had them surrounded, and they made a comment. They were talking about it. Every time we try to roll in and take them down, they push us back. So they reminded them of the buffalo when they were going after buffalo to hunt. They said they fight like a wounded buffalo. They just never quit or never give up. So that's how their name stuck. And the 10th Cav at first didn't like it. It was an insult. But they learned to revere their name. And the Cheyennes, there are 2 things they would do to you if they rolled up on you. Either they would kill you or they would capture you. And if they capture you, they treat you so well, they just basically incorporated you into their tribe. So basically that's how they got their name, and all the rest of them took their name. There was 2 cavalry. They rode horses, and horses was considered elite. There was a 9th and 10th. They made up 20% of the cavalry. That means 1 out of every 5 cav troops was black. And we had 4 infantry, 38th, 39th, and the 41st. Of course, the army was too big. It was 45 regiments. So what do? Do you get rid of the cav, or do you get rid of the infantry? So they said, no, we're going to keep the cav because they're elite. We're going to shrink down the infantry from 45 to 25. That's what they did. So the 38th and the 41st combined became the 24th, known as the Deuce 4. And the 39th and 40th combined made the 25th. And they were all with the Buffalo Soldiers. Now, why are they important? They did a lot of things. They maintained law and order. They went after guys such as Butch Cassidy, the Dolan Gang, Billy the Kid. They went after them. Yes, they did. They were forest fighters. Everything you can think of they did to maintain law and order. As they went on down, also too, I found it was quite unique. Every unit, July the 20th, 1866, it was mandatory that every unit must have a baseball team and a band. A baseball team and a band was mandatory. It came in handy. Well, as they went on down the line, they started doing great things. My time is short. I got 15 minutes, so I got to kind of rush through it. Bear with me. They got assigned here from 1866 to 1922. 1866 to 1922, they were here. In the land of enchantment, here's some interesting things of this land of enchantment. They were park rangers. They maintained law and order. They were teachers and entertainers. Now, the unique thing about being in the land of enchantment here in New Mexico, the first female Buffalo soldier, Kathy Williams, she was here. She was at Fort Bayard. And how they found out she was a woman and always she could pass for a man, bear with me here, ladies. She had to be kind of flat-chested and couldn't be too attractive, but she was there. And how they found out, one of the orderlies was kind of checking out medically, and he noticed something interesting. He said, wait a minute, those are not men parts he was looking at. So he came to the conclusion, this was a woman, not a man. So, of course, she was kicked out, let loose from the military. Also at Fort Bayard, something else happened here in this land of enchantment. The first superintendent of schools was formed by a guy by the name of Lieutenant Colonel Allen Allensworth. He worked the first training program because it was important to educate the troops. Now, little did he know his plan was going to be used by the entire United States Army, because General McCrook gave him the green light to do this. You can go to the National Archives, you can find that same brochure. I'm a product of that education because it was for the enlisted men side of the house. So they got that. We still use it today. Here in Columbus, I've written my notes here, hold on here. The first Army boxing champ, Rufus Williams, was assigned here at our camp Furlong here in Columbus. 9th Cavalry in this great state won 98% of them, well, not won, they earned 98% of the Medal of Honor in this land of enchantment. Fort Bayard service of all 4 Buffalo soldiers were assigned there. There were about 11 places we were assigned during the tours of duty. 1916, 1917 Buffalo soldiers was assigned here as well, 24, but the rest of them went into Mexico looking for Pancho Villa. There was the 10th Cavalry and the 24th. 9th Cavalry was in the Philippines, 24th was in Hawaii. The importance of Columbus, New Mexico. Here's your connection. Here's our bloodline. Here's my family. While they were here, remember that part I said, we're going to have a band? The band was so good, they performed at every function you could think of. Military functions, weddings, you name it, they were performing during these functions. Now here's the interesting thing. This was the first time in U.S. history they formed a union. Now, the military doesn't have unions, but they formed one. Why? Because with so much demand, they said, you're going to pay us for our time, which made sense, and it worked out pretty good. Now, the other side of that coin they did was quite unique. From 1916 to 1950, the Buffalo Soldiers of the 24th Infantry Regiment produced the most boxing champions in U.S. military history. I'm going to say that again so you can hear me clearly. From 1916 to 1950, the United States military, 24th Infantry Regiment, produced the most boxing champions in U.S. military history. Even still to this day, that record still stands. The reason why they stopped in 1950, there was something called the Korean War, and that's what ended their reign. But other than that, they produced the most boxing champions. Like anything in life, it must come to an end. The 24th left here in 1922 and moved to a place called Fort Benning. There was one left behind, the 25th Infantry Regiment. They left in 1924. Now the mayor at that time knew what was going to happen. Once they left, and this was also true, just for the record, this was the largest contingency of black Americans west of the Mississippi in this great little town. When they left, the town suffered because of the revenue and everything that they brought. But I want to remind you, our hearts are still here. We are family. This is a bloodline. This is a tradition. We're going to be here forever, so we're not going anywhere. I have a lot of brochures to hand out in case you didn't get any. I'll still be here to run my big mouth in case you have any questions. So I'm just letting you know, we're here to stay, and we have a connection. Thank you again for your time.